We are excited to welcome you to this pre-camp. Campers, it is the APH virtual ExCEL Career Open House pre-camp part 2, day 2, where we are practicing critical thinking skills. And your instructors are so excited to come back and see you again to have some fun, and maybe they might have refined their questions even more. They're going to help you prep to solve a mystery once we get to the ExCEL camp. So I am pleased to hand it over to Robbin Clark and Kathy Bingham to let the fun begin for our virtual ExCEL camp.
All right, thank you, Amy. Hi, this is Robbin talking right now. I'm going to ask Amy to make me a co-host so that I can get our screen formatted. So I'm going to talk for a quick second, and I'm going to get our screens ready to go. So what's going to happen right now is you're going to see me super big on your screen, and in a second, you should see we're switching. This is really good live problems that are happening, but it's okay. We're getting through it, and we will get on to our introduction. Okay, now you have it. You have Robbin and Kathy, and we're both going to introduce ourselves and get us off to a great start. So hello, I'm Robbin Clark. I'm from the Utah School for the Blind, and I'm really excited to be here. I am a white woman. I am wearing blue glasses. I have hopefully big brown curly hair, and I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. So welcome. And now I want you to meet my friend, Kathy Bingham.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Bingham. I am also from the Utah School for the Blind, and I get to work with Robbin as an expanded core curriculum educator. So I have the best job in the world. I am a Caucasian woman with not as blonde of hair as I would like, and it's very straight, but I'm just super thrilled to be here.
So today you have myself and Kathy, who will be co-teaching our pre-camp. Now, we also have a special guest who is joining us. Today, our entire focus is STEM careers. So we call this a pre-camp, although if you are watching this on the recording, you might just be watching a really cool class. This is to warm us up for our summer of fun. This summer at APH Virtual ExCEL Summer Camp, we have all STEM summer camps for kids of all ages and abilities. So make sure you've signed up, or if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, go ahead and switch over and find all of the cool camps that we have. We're really excited to bring STEM and the expanded core curriculum together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is delicioso. All right, that being said, let's get into what we are doing today. I'm going to start by telling you what our learning objectives are. And learning objectives are the things that we want to focus on during this 1 hour that we have together. We have 3 main learning objectives. Number 1, we want to examine career readiness skills, because in order to have a career in the STEM field, you need to know what skills that thrill employers, skills you need to not only get a job, but keep a job. And the bonus, most of the skills that we are talking about apply to any type of job. So today we're going to look at those skills. We're going to examine them, unpack them, look at them so that you know the top 5 career readiness skills that all employers are looking for. We have a second learning objective. Today we're going to talk about identifying career options in the STEM field. So we really want to know what jobs are out there. I bet we will talk about a job you've never even heard of that is a possibility for you. So we're going to see what kind of options, because the STEM field is huge with potential. And third, and maybe one of the most exciting parts of our lesson today, we get to interview a STEM professional who has a vision impairment, who has been super successful in the STEM field. And we're really excited to hear from him and to interview him. So that being said, we are going to get into learning objective number 1, and let's start talking about what STEM is. And so to talk about what STEM is, I'm going to give it over to Kathy, and she's going to help unpack that part for us.
Thanks, Robin. I'm so excited to talk again about STEM. So if you happen to listen to our recording from our last session, or if you joined us in our last session, we did talk about this a little bit. So I want you to take a moment and think, what is STEM? Are we going to be talking about plants for an hour, or is it an acronym for something? Let me know in the chat or wherever you're at. You can shout it out loud and let everybody around you know what you know about STEM.
I was actually trying to think of my favorite food that started with the letter S. And all I could come up with was
sushi. Sushi.
Oh, sushi. So
sushi.
Could STEM be something with food like sushi, tuna, edamame? Oh, I almost got it. I don't think that that's what STEM is.
I don't think it is quite what STEM is, but you know, we could apply some of those principles to your favorite foods.
Oh my goodness, if we could put sushi and STEM together, I think I might have a chance as a career in STEM.
It would be a beautiful marriage. It really.
Okay, well, since that's clearly not what STEM is, what is STEM, Kathy?
Let's clear the air just a little bit on that one. So STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. All very exciting and dynamic subjects. So when we are talking about STEM careers, we're talking about careers that are in science, technology, engineering, and math. And I don't want to put an or in there because all of those subjects kind of go hand in hand. I don't think you can do engineering without math. Math is just kind of with everything. And then also along with that is a little bit of a teaser, because some people say, you know what, if we're going to integrate them all together, we need to add another subject and another letter to it. So they've extended STEM to be STEAM. So they've added an A in there. So we're going to talk about the A a little bit later, but you can just kind of think about that for a little bit. So Robin, what are these key career skills that will thrill STEAM employers that we can develop?
Well, I'm happy to talk about them. So we're jumping into what our learning objective number 1 is, and that is we want to examine career readiness skills. Now, we like to think of these as skills that thrill. So if you have these skills, employers are looking for them. If you came last time, you heard me talking about this. I did a Google and I went to Indeed.com, Career.com, Career Builder. I went to all of these different career websites and I was doing a lot of research to find out what are the most in-demand skills. So think about this right now. You're welcome to share in chat, or of course, if you're watching the recording, just think about this. What are skills that an employee should have when you go to the workplace? What are these important skills? So just take a second, share in chat, or think about it. What are these skills? So I'm immediately thinking about technology, just because I heard Kathy mention something about it when we were talking about the letters of STEM. And so I can already tell you that technology skills are a really important part of this. Both technology and assistive technology or access technology, being able to use a Word document, know how a computer works, send an email, those are really important skills. I see that Mia in the chat is bringing back our work ethic. She mentioned work hard. And I think she mentioned that last time, and it's completely worth repeating again, because employees that can work hard and have a quality effort are what employers are looking for. Nobody wants to see people who give a D grade effort. where you do just enough. Employers are looking for employees that are willing to give a quality effort. So I really want you to make that note, because in high school, you can practice this exact skill. In high school, you can do just enough to pass the class, or you could do enough to earn that A or B grade, that quality that you're looking for. So let's go over these skills. Now, last time I mentioned 2 of them. We have 2 of 5 important skills that employers are looking for. The first skill is critical thinking and problem solving. That's a great one. And again, these are skills that you can use in high school. Critical thinking, really evaluating and investigating a topic. You don't have to be some kind of brainiac to be a critical thinker, but critical thinkers look deeply. They want to find the problem. They want to see the connections. They want to be able to evaluate a situation. These are the people that are tuned in to what's happening around them. And then with that, problem solving. And problem solving is such an important skill, from orientation and mobility, when you get lost, getting a redirection, figuring out your intersection. It's problem solving at your home. What am I going to eat? Did you know that's problem solving? Every time you ask that question, which gets asked at least 5 times a day in my house, what can I eat? There's the problem. How are you going to solve it? Head to the refrigerator. Those are some lower ways, but in the workplace, being able to look at a project and identify it, that's a really important part. Identify the critical features of it, doing some inference, some communication. So when we really think about those skills that thrill employers, number 1, critical thinking and problem solving. So I want you to rank yourself a little bit. What kind of problem solver are you? Are you 1, I don't really listen and I kind of just do whatever? Are you a 2? I do my best to figure it out and I get stuck a little bit. Or are you a 3? Meaning I can identify problems and I can generate solutions, even if I get some help. So think about that. If you find yourself as a 1, we definitely want to up your problem solving desire. We want to get you to a 3. You can identify the problem and generate some solutions. Okay, a lot of talk about skill number 1. Let me keep us going to skill number 2, teamwork and collaboration, which we hope Kathy and I are showing you today, because we are definitely a team and we've collaborated on this project. But being able to work well with others is a really important skill. And it's not just about having fun with other people, because let me tell you, Kathy and I have a lot of fun with each other. Mm-hmm. The big part to being a successful team player and collaborator is knowing what you need to do and getting your part done to help the group keep going forward with their project. I see Kathy's hand up. Jump on in, Kathy.
One thing I really want to point out that I love about working as a team with you is you and I have both personally identified our strengths. What are the things that we do well as an individual? And I'm going to give a great example. I am not really good. I mean, well, this is an example of a weakness on my part. I am not really good at making things look good. But I know Robbin is. So whenever we're working together, then I defer to Robbin on that. But Robbin knows that I'm pretty good with math. And so if there's anything that involves math, then it gets to come to me. And that way, we're making our team really strong by leveraging the strengths of our members.
I love that example. And it's a completely classic example. Whenever we are organized something, I'm like, Kathy, you're going to have, I almost don't even have to say it now, because the other part of it is we're really aware of our strengths, and weaknesses aren't a bad word. Like, I'm not terrible at math, But I know Kathy really excels at math. So leveraging her strength is a great part. So I hope everybody hears the words we're using, leveraging strengths. So when you're working together on a team, what are the strengths of those around you? So I could do the math. It might take me longer and a few hundred more mistakes than what Kathy would make, or I could prepare it so that when I hand it to Kathy, she can jump in and take over. So notice that I'm not saying I just don't do it. I do my part and prepare it so that Kathy can take it and keep moving forward. So leveraging the strengths. Kathy also raised a really good point. She said she knows her strengths and her weaknesses. So I want everyone to take a minute and think about that. What are some strengths that you have as a career skill? So are you organized? Are you quick with tech? Are you good at using Google Drive or Google Docs or Microsoft? Let's think about that. What are some strengths? And you're, of course, welcome to list that in the chat. But if you're just here listening, take a second and we're going to give these pauses. Think of 3 strengths that you have that are great for the workplace. Okay, it was a big pause because I really wanted to give you time to think about that. Now, let's move on to number 3, professionalism and strong work ethic. So taking responsibility for your behavior and working effectively with others is a big part of professionalism. You know, how you act with your friends should not really be the same way that you work with others. Now, Kathy and I get along really well, and sometimes we act like a little bit more like friends than coworkers. But the bottom line is, when it comes to projects, I don't let Kathy down by not doing my part. I still have my professional edge to myself. So professionalism, we do this in communication, right? So don't do text speak. You know how you would text a friend? Don't use that in an email to your boss or a colleague, right? Professional communication, professional dress. Now it is over the summer, so I am wearing a t-shirt and my Crocs. But if I was going to school, I would definitely be dressed professionally, right? So that somebody would take me seriously. So, and then professional behavior. I can't just yell at people whenever I don't like them, or I can't just not do something. So make sure when we talk about professionalism, you think about it in terms of communication, both oral speaking and in writing. So how I speak to others and how I email others. I want you to think about this in your dress. That doesn't mean you need to have the most expensive clothes, but professional dress, you should have clean clothes, right? You shouldn't be wearing a shirt that has rips or says nasty things all over it, right? Professional dress. And then the last part is professional behavior, that you really do act the part, right? You don't throw tantrums, you don't blame other people, you take responsibility for yourself. And when you're doing all of those things, a strong work ethic comes into play there. And Mia talked about working hard for things. So one key rule I want you to remember with strong work ethic is, 1, do a quality job. But second, step ahead and do an extra mile when it's necessary. So for example, if Kathy and I are both working on a project and I finish my part, but Kathy hasn't finished her part and she has a lot of things to do and we have a deadline, I could either A, say, well, I did my part, Kathy's just got to figure this out. Or B, I could work with Kathy and say, I've done my part. I see that you still have a lot of things to do and you're trying to work really hard. What can I help so that we get our project done together? Which is the more effective part, A or B? And I already see in the chat, I see that letter B. Yeah, Now, that doesn't mean doing everybody's work all the time is the right thing, but it's really important that you're not always thinking of the me, you're thinking of the we. How can we get this done together? All right, last two, and I've kind of already talked about one of them. Oral and written communication skills. So I was just talking about that. It's an important skill. Don't talk to your boss. Hey, yo, what's up? I don't know if anybody talks like that anymore, to be perfectly honest, but you see my point. Don't talk to your boss like they're your mom that you're angry with, right? And sometimes we do get frustrated in the workplace. It happens. We have anger. We get upset. We get frustrated. We get irritated with people. So remember, take a breath. Take a breath before you respond. If you get an email and you're like, what? Why would that person say that? Okay, if you're in anything like I just described, serenity now, take a breath. Oral and written communication really does matter because it's how you present yourself. It's also how you strengthen your team. Now, I also like to remind my students that for every I can't that you give, make sure you give an I can, because it's easy to unintentionally talk about all the things that maybe you can't do. Like maybe you can't see the screen, or you can't read something, or you can't understand something because it's very visual. That is a very realistic problem and a barrier that you have to overcome in the workplace. But don't just leave it as, I can't read that. See how that kind of just fell flat? So when you say, I can't read that in that format, I would prefer if you emailed it to me, or you gave it as a digital format or a different way. So remember, in this communication part, it's very specific for you as a person with a vision impairment. For every I can't, have an I can, have an alternative, because your employer, the place that you work, they're not usually trying to make things difficult because you can't see something or you can't access something. And they do have a responsibility to help you. But you have a responsibility to know what you need. You need to know different formats that you can access something. You have a responsibility to help inform others. So it's a partnership, not just a me, it's a we. So remember that in communication. I see Kathy's hand up, so I'm going to throw it to Kathy real quick.
I just love how that little bit of advice that you just gave also helps with the first skill of problem solving. I have a problem. I can't read that. So you're also giving a solution, but I can read it if you send it in this format. So that's an excellent thing to think of for problem solving. And then another tip to think of for that is what we tell our students all the time when they run into a problem. What information do I have? And what information do I need? So if you're given something that you can't read it in that format, that's the information you have. You have something in a format that you can't read. What information do you need? You need it in a format that you can. So that helps give you the information that you need to advocate for yourself respectfully.
That's a really great point. Thanks, Kathy. All right, on to our last career readiness skill. This is your last skill that can thrill, and it is leadership. Now, a lot of people think that leadership is just being able to stand up in a big group of people, to lead everybody to where they need to go, to tell everybody what they need to do. And although that is true, it's a yes and statement. Yes, that is leadership. And good leaders care about their team, right? Good leaders are not dictators. They don't just stand there and say, you do that, I do nothing, find me a cookie, right? Of course, I hope people in the workplace really don't sound like that, but there are definitely variations of that. But good leaders care about the project. They care about the people who are working on the project. So we teach our students that we have front group leadership. These are the leaders in the front saying, This is the direction we need to go. This is how we get there. That is an important role. And I want you to remember that there is something called back group leadership. And without the back group leaders, the front group leaders don't always know how everybody's getting there. Meaning that the back of the group leaders are looking to see, hey, you might not see that up front, or this detail didn't happen. We need to get to this. So leadership is not just about being able to have a loud voice and to stand up. Leadership is about strengthening your team. It's about looking out for people. It's about supporting everyone to stay on the project and to stay focused on the goal. So everybody has a role in leadership. And as we end these 5 skills, I want you to think for one quick second, what are 2 leadership skills you have? Are you organized? Can you write a good leader? Can you get everybody to the project? Are you creative? Believe it or not, creativity is a great leadership strength, right? As well as keeping everybody on time. That's a great leadership skill. So think about this. You can share in chat, or you can just think about it. What are 2 leadership skills that you possess? Okay, you better have thought about those leadership skills. I know that you've said them out loud. Now, I'm going to recap our 5 top skills that thrill, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, who's going to tell us a little bit about STEM, and then that leads us up to talking with our special guest and really learning not just what we're saying, but he's living this life in the amazing STEM field. Can we go with amazing? I think that would work. Sean, we can see you on camera. Could you tell us, is that amazing? Oh, yes. He's so excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, we're not lying to you. All right.
Good points.
So what were those top 5 skills that employers are looking for? Number 1, critical thinking and problem solving. Number 2, teamwork and collaboration. Number 3, professionalism and strong work ethic. Number 4, oral and written communication skills. And number 5, leadership. These are the skills that thrill for us in the workplace. It's something regardless if you're a teacher, a scientist, you work at McDonald's, everybody has to have these skills if you want to have a successful career. But we got to know what kind of careers are out there. So Kathy, tell us about options in the STEM field.
Well, before I jump into options in the STEM field, I just want to pose a question to everybody. How many of you would say you have a job right now? You guys are 8th grade and up. Some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, I'm too young to have a job. I don't have a job right now. Some of you might be saying, hey, I do have a job right now. And I would just like to assert to all of you that you all have a job right now. Your job right now is school. And school is that great area and training ground for our careers. So we can take all of these wonderful employment skills that thrill, and we can apply them to our job right now, which is amazing student and future career holder. So just keep that in mind and know that you are hard at work at the job that you're supposed to be working at right now in this phase in life. So let's look to our next phase in life. And we already talked that STEAM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. And some of those fields might seem pretty easy to think, man, what would a job be in that field? Let's see, engineering. Well, lots of the engineering jobs say engineer in them. So my husband is a civil engineer. He has a friend that's a chemical engineer. He has another friend who's a mechanical engineer. So those are kind of self-explanatory, and I bet many of you have heard about those. There's also something called a software engineer, and that one kind of bleeds a little bit of that technology and engineering together. But if we say science, I learned about a new job just in our last session. And I don't know if anybody, I can describe what my face was when Dr. Minkara started talking. And she says, yes, I work in computational chemistry. My eyes got big and I just thought, computational chemistry? I had no idea that field existed. It was absolutely amazing. So I think a lot of the fields in science can have like those really, I don't know, fancy, amazing sounds. And it was wonderful listening to Dr. Minkara. It was super cool. Something that we can think about, and I may date myself a little bit with this, is I was born before the internet existed. Many of you may be surprised to know that there was a date in time in life when there was no internet.
No Wi-Fi?
No Wi-Fi.
I don't believe this. Mind blown. Because, I'm so young that I've only ever known a life where Wi-Fi.
With Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember actual no internet at all. I remember dial-up internet. But what I'm using this to illustrate is there's careers now that didn't exist when I was younger. Like when I was in elementary school, the job, any internet related job didn't exist. So many of the jobs that will become available in the field of STEM aren't even imagined of now, because we have so many breakthroughs that will come through and create all of these new jobs. So you might be wondering, why did we spend so much time on career skills that thrill? It's because every single one of those skills can be applied to every single job that ever has been and that ever will be, and that actually is available to us now. So little side segue there, but we talked a little bit about some jobs in engineering. We talked a little bit about some jobs in science with our computational chemistry research. But what are some of these other jobs in science? They can include anything in biology, in chemistry, in medical science. So would you think that a nurse is a STEM job in science? That might be something we hadn't thought of before. We also have psychology is a field of science, and that is a science-related job. So if you've ever talked with a therapist before, that's someone in the STEM field. I think it's amazing. Technology jobs. How many of you guys want to be an assistive technology, I don't know, assistant, or someone to help develop assistive technology? I know a lot of the students that Robbin and I work with do. And that would definitely fit in the technology field, anything computer related. And then finally, we have math jobs. This one is really interesting. I have a brother-in-law who has a math job. He's an accountant. Math jobs also work with economics, statistics. They identify patterns and they apply those patterns to so many different parts of life. So I think that's just a little bit of a taste of some STEM jobs. Think for a minute of all of the jobs that I talked about, and then think of one you know that maybe I didn't mention. I would love for you to put that in the chat. I would love for you to shout that wherever you may be watching this video so that everybody knows what you're thinking. I know that my niece would shout out right now to me, a marine biologist, because she's 8 and that's what she wants to be. Another job in the STEM field.
Well, I'm thinking that my daughter is obsessed with crystals and gems. And so she has really gotten into geology because she's really loving learning about where do these crystals come from. And she can categorize them. She can look at any crystal and tell me what it is. So that's a cool job in STEM. I like that
That's
one.
a really awesome job in STEM. And then we have somebody, our guest speaker, and I actually have been for almost an hour dying to know what part of the STEM field he is in. So Robbin, I think it might be time to turn our time over to our guest.
I know, I just brought him up. So now you will be looking at 3 people on your screen. So we have the rest of our session to interview and to get to know Sean Mealin. So he's going to unmute and tell you a little bit about himself. And then we're going to jump in with a couple questions. So take it away, Sean.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Sean Mealin. I am a product manager at SAS. And what a product manager does is I talk to customers and I talk to the development teams. So those would be the people that are actually writing the software, and make sure that we are actually developing software that makes sense for our customers and allows them to do their jobs. So I do a lot of communication. I'm still in STEM though, because of my background and what I actually work on. So I'll go into my background a little bit. One of the first things you should know about me is I'm completely blind. So that means that I had a slightly different experience throughout school than a sighted student would be. And I'm sure lots of people can, on this call, can appreciate things are slightly different, right? Sometimes you have to find alternative ways to do it, but you still have to do the same tasks as everyone else. I went to university and I majored in computer science, which is studying how computers work and how software can be built. Once I finished that, I continued on at university and I got my doctorate in computer science, looking at how we can teach computers to better work with guide dogs. So how can we use computers to better train them and determine if they're going to be a good guide dog or not? And that's in the field of machine learning. Machine learning is basically having computers make intelligent decisions to help us perform a task. Once I finished that, I then moved on to become a software developer at my current company. And I had the opportunity to program lots of different things that people use around the world nowadays. So one of the piece of software that I worked on was software that takes graphs like bar charts or line charts and turns them into sound, so people who are blind can also use them. After that, I changed careers slightly, and instead of software development, now I'm in product management. And I already explained what that means. So I'll pause there and see if we have any questions.
Oh man, that was a dangerous question. We have like 4,000 questions, but I have to stay focused on a couple of important ones because I'm super curious about the graphs. I've heard about those graphs being turned into with the audio so that you could, okay, I can't even get into that. I've got to stay focused on our first question. Talk a little bit about accessibility when you were getting into all of these things. Did you have readers? Did you get things in a digital format? Was it a combination of reading Braille and digital? So talk to us a little bit about how did you access things in high school and then in college?
Great question. In high school, I was very fortunate in the fact that the county that I was in had the resources to provide some things in Braille. So we had a professional Brailleist who would come in and actually convert things to Braille that they received from my teachers. Unfortunately, that is more rare than it should be. So a lot of the time, especially once you get to university and in the real world, in your professional career, you have to advocate for yourself. There's not going to be someone to do it for you. And I think that's something that we've already touched on, but it's worth repeating again. You know, what you want to do is advocate for your needs in a way that allows people to want to continue working with you, right? You have to be friendly, you have to be kind, and you have to understand that people have a different perspective. So once I went to university, it was up to me to advocate for my own rights. What that meant was before every class that I took, I reach out to the professors and I would say, hi, I'm Sean, I'm blind, and I'm going to be in your class. There are things that I'm going to ask you to do, such as making sure you verbalize or speak out loud what you put on the board instead of pointing to it. And there are things that I'm going to need help doing, such as if you put a picture up, I might need you to describe it to me a little bit more. So I think the number one thing that was important for me is communication. Communicate with your professors, communicate with your colleagues, communicate with your boss.
Hey, Sean, can I just jump in right there real quick? You talked about, I love how you bring up the fact that when you get to college, it suddenly is your responsibility to be the one to advocate. And so do you have any advice for our students who are in high school of what they can do since they now know that their job right now is school? What can they do to kind of start taking the reins of that if say they have a teacher or a para that usually does that for them? What can they do so they can maybe gradually shift that responsibility so that by the time they're ready to start college, they will feel really confident in their ability to advocate for their needs?
Sure. So something that you can do is start paying attention to what's coming up and start trying to guess what might be problems and bringing them up proactively. So bringing them up before they're problems. What that might look like is if you're in math class and you're starting geometry, for example, going and talking to your teacher saying, I know that this is going to be visual, and let's talk about ways that we can make it work. And that might be something that you involve your TBI with or whomever is there to support you. But what you want to do is make sure that you find a way to access the material and do the problems and do the homework in a way that makes sense for you. So everyone's experience is going to be slightly different. What worked for me might not work for you. What works for your friend might not work for you, or what works for you might not work for someone else. So making sure that you get it in a format that makes sense for you, and you proactively start thinking about, oh, it makes sense when my teacher verbalizes or speaks things out loud and I record it. Maybe because it's easier for me to record things and review that recording later rather than trying to type notes as they're talking. Whatever makes sense for you.
I love that. And one really great thing that I picked up on as you were describing it, and I don't know if anybody else did, but you just absolutely described the process of collaboration. If you're going and you're talking to your teacher and you're bringing your TVI into it, you are all working together at this problem-solving process to help get the information that you need in a format that works for you. I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Robbin here. I can't help it. I have to know now personally more than ever, how did you get interested in what you're doing? Like what led you down the path that you first started and then switching over? How did you get interested in this field or your original field?
Sure. So my path was very gradual. So when I was in middle school, so I guess I should prefix this with a little bit about my blindness. So I have LCA, Leber's congenital amaurosis. And what that means is I was born with a little bit of vision, but I was still legally blind. But as I went into middle school, I lost what vision I had. And by the time I hit high school, I had none of that vision remaining. So that means that when I was young, I used large print and I used magnifiers on the computer. By the time I got to high school, I switched over to using screen readers. And then eventually I started wondering like, hey, the screen reader works with, let's say, Microsoft Word very well, but it might not work with another application as well. Why is this? And how can I try and fix it? So I started investigating, how do computers work? How is software programmed? How do things interact? And I was interested in making sure that what I wanted to do I could do. Once I got into university, I continued that path, but I started focusing on more computing in general. And I very quickly fell in love with the idea of how do computers help us, not just reacting to us, but how do they proactively help us? How can they observe the world like we do and make a decision that may make our lives easier? And once I had the opportunity to do some research, because I, once again, was in good contact with my professors, and not just for accessibility, but for my interests, right? I said to one of my professors, I'm very interested in, for example, how do characters in video games make decisions? How do the enemies know where I am? How do the levels react to my character? And once I expressed interest, they then gave me the opportunity to do some research with them. And that eventually led into machine learning in general. And then I brought in my interest in guide dogs and was able to work with a professor to combine those two fields. So I think one thing I do want to highlight is one of the most valuable things, especially if you're interested in any kind of technology, is follow your curiosity. Find things that you are personally interested in and pursue that, because technology is everywhere. And wherever you are, you can start learning about that field, how to participate in that field, and those will turn into valuable skills that will get you a job later on.
I love that. This is Kathy here. I wish I would have been taking a tally, because I would really like to know how many times you said the word how. And that just really sparked in my brain that critical thinking skill and that analytical skill of like, well, how does this work? Or how can I take computers and guide dogs and bring them together? Like, what my eyes and my mouth just kind of dropped when you talked about the research you did with guide dogs and computers. I just went, oh my goodness, that was just something I had never even considered. So thank you. And I'm going to ask you a question of, what is your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing about my job is, I think, communicating between our customers and our developers. So our developers are incredibly smart people, and in general, software developers tend to be smart people, but sometimes they get so distracted by the details that they don't see the bigger picture. And so my job is to make sure that I understand the big picture by talking to customers, and then making sure that our developers understand the picture, or if they're not as interested in the bigger picture, just gently guiding them towards something that makes sense, that allows our customers to actually solve their problems. So I like bridging the gap between people who are very technical and people who are not technical. I like explaining technology to people.
Oh, we might have a job for you if you'd like one. We probably could use more people that could do that interfacing. And I bet it's got to be kind of satisfying to bridge those groups together, right? When both groups really get it, and then that synergy happens where they're working to, like, it's all coming together. I would imagine that's a pretty cool feeling.
It is, especially because I get to talk to the customers once I figure out the problem and work with the developers to get a solution to that problem. Then I actually get to see the customers use the solution that we came up with. And when they're happy, I'm happy.
Yay. Okay, we have another question, kind of taking a left turn from where we were just talking about. But since we have a lot of young people looking to get into this field, we talk a lot about job shadowing, internships, get to know some things. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your role and what you did with that. Did you do job shadowing? Did you do something that you were like, I will never do that again? I do not like that area. That's a hard no. So talk a little bit about that part of your career process.
Sure. So I think my first real experience having kind of a job type activity outside of school was when I was in high school. I started volunteering at a place that took donated computers, would refurbish them and repair them, and then donate them to schools that needed computers. And so what that meant is I had to be at a place every Saturday for 4 hours, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had a job. I would disassemble computers, or sometimes I'd reassemble computers, put software on there, and then making sure that everything worked together. And that was my first real job in the technical field. Once I did that for a while, I went off to university. And then once I was a little bit more experienced in university, so not my freshman year, but my sophomore year, I had the opportunity to do an internship at a web development company. And so a web development company is a company that creates websites and web applications for customers. So I was able to very early get an idea of seeing a requirement that a customer had. So maybe that would be, on this page, I want users of my site to be able to buy a t-shirt, and then figuring out how to implement that in software so they can actually allow their customers to buy a shirt. So that was an internship in my sophomore year. And then I had a couple more internships here and there throughout my undergrad experience. And then I went into research. And research is basically like having a job, but more fun. Research is finding problems that nobody else has thought about before, and being the first one, or collaborating with the team to be the first one to explore that idea. So my research early on was, how can we combine, more generally, technology and dogs? So can we put computers on search and rescue dogs to allow them to communicate with their handler when they are looking for people in an area that might have been damaged by a hurricane, for example? So all of this gave me different experiences. So I think one of the most important things is to try different jobs and find out what you like or don't like. Either volunteering, which is the easiest, or finding an internship. And lots of people will give you an internship if you are bold enough to go and ask for it. People that want to be there are always more valuable than people that are forced to be there.
Okay, it's all I can do to contain myself to stop asking, because all I want to do is ask you about the dog and technology collaboration and everything there. But I'm looking at our time, and I just want you to know, I love the way you described that process of research, because it may be from some slightly boring classes in college. I would say I wouldn't jump on the research train, but I love how you framed that, looking for an idea or a question that hasn't been, followed through with or unpacked. I think that is actually really fascinating. So I hope students that are hearing that, and you have these wonderments, that's a word I think I've made up, but I hope you can see that there is so much opportunity in wondering if things go together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really love how you handled, or you shared that. What I do want to ask about is, I'm sure at some point you had a naysayer, or somebody who maybe didn't outright discriminate, but somebody who maybe doubted your ability. And I want to be very clear, this is not something unique to people with vision impairments. Lots of people get told, for one reason or another, you're not good at something, you shouldn't do it. And sometimes we are the voice saying that to ourselves, that I don't think I'm good enough, I don't think I should do that. And so whenever we hear that, that's a gremlin. Those are bad thoughts. We need to stamp that out. However, the reality is we all face people that don't believe in our ability, or are well-meaning, but tell us, I don't really think you should pursue that after all. But it is a very real thing that many people with vision impairments have encountered. And so I just kind of wanted to hear your advice or experiences. How do you deal with that? And maybe it's you. Maybe sometimes you say, Sean, what are you doing? You can't do this. How do you deal with that inner voice or outer voice telling you that you can't do something?
Sure. I'll tackle this question in two parts. So let's talk about when other people tell you you can't do something. the number one person that matters when it comes to making decisions about your life is you. And people might say, you shouldn't do this, it's too dangerous, you can't do it. Or it's less direct than that. When I encounter people that say, how could a blind person possibly do this? It is more out of well, I closed my eyes for 2 seconds and I couldn't do it, so there's no way you can do it. But that's not the same thing, right? You know your capabilities much better than someone else knows your capabilities. And so what you have to do, and this gets into the other part of the question, is build up your confidence to ignore those people. You want to build up your confidence so that if you're choosing to do something, you absolutely can do it and have the confidence and inner voice telling you that you can do it. And that comes not just as part of a job, but as part of moving out on your own. So if you go to university, most of the time, that's going to be your first experience living away from your parents or wherever you grew up. And you're going to be on your own in the dorm or eventually in an apartment, or as I did once after I finished university, I actually bought my own house. And every time you push that bubble of comfort a little bit, every time you take one small step out of the things that you know you can do into the realm of the things you think you might be able to do, you're going to boost your own confidence. And that might be also traveling independently. If you've never gone to summer camp, that summer camp can be an experience. If you've never gone to university, going to university could be scary. Or if you've never gone to another country, that could also be scary. But once you've done it, and once you've, had that experience and also experienced what could go wrong, right? If you're exploring by yourself, the worst thing that happens is you get lost, and then you figure out where you are and you learn something, and you don't get lost in that same way again. And once again, that builds your confidence. So it's all about confidence. You need to have confidence in yourself to ignore the people that are ignorant in the idea of not knowing what you can do. And it also helps to surround yourself with friends that you can go on adventures with, so they can also build your confidence. Having a good support group, since no one does this all by themselves, is also critically important.
Oh, that was such a great answer. Like, I just love it. And I hope everyone knows that we can all relate to that, that feeling of needing that confidence. And I just would add, it's okay if it's hard for you to learn a skill. Just because something is hard for you to learn doesn't mean it's impossible, right? It doesn't mean there's not another way that you could learn it, because maybe the way that you're learning is actually, maybe it is the hardest way, but there's always another way to get to something. There's always that other possibility. Oh my goodness, Sean, this was so fun having you with us. We could have you back again, which maybe we will. We'll send you an email. We learned so much from you. It's just been so great to have you. Students, I hope you've all enjoyed everything that we've done in our pre-camp. Again, please join us throughout the entire summer or on our YouTube channel. We've got nothing but awesome STEM and expanded core learning for you from some really cool teachers. We're going to turn it over to Amy, who is going to close us out and tell you a little bit about our upcoming camps that are on our way. So, and thank you to Sean. It was so great talking with you. Really glad we were able to connect.
Thank you.
All right.
This was a great past 60 minutes. I loved the enthusiasm and all the information. You laid a solid foundation of what we are approaching and walking into in the coming weeks. So crime scene investigation, this will, it looks as though we air in July. Is that correct, Robbin? We are coming back July 25th through the 29th.
Yes, we have camp starting next week for our K-3 students, the Great STEM Camp Out. We have camps for kids with multiple impairments called Tending the Garden. Those camps are next week. And then in July, we do have a crime scene investigation and STEM camp on a deserted island.
Well, this is great. You've laid a great foundation and have intrigued us all to come back, whether you are in here live or you're catching the recording. We will look forward to seeing you in an upcoming STEM camp for our virtual camp this summer. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Sean.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.